Hi everybody. I'm going to read The Big Blanket, which has been one of my favorite books since I was very little, and it's about how you can help each other as a community. Not long ago, in a nearby town, a family by the name of Brown had a wonderful something that set them apart from the people around them right from the start. They weren't poor and they weren't wealthy, but when it came to being healthy, folks from everywhere agreed the Browns were the healthiest family indeed. In fact, they just glowed, though no one could have guessed what made them feel so good. In their attic, on a bed, all edged in purple, blue, and red, and indigo and orange and green, was the prettiest patchwork ever seen. A beautiful quilt, all sewn by hand, by Grandma Brown, and it was grand, and soft and safe and warm and cozy, and could make the grayest day turn rosy. Just by tucking it under your chin, things would start looking up again. While the Browns all agreed that their quilt was a blessing, way down inside they felt something was missing. They wondered and pondered and puzzled it through, and it didn't take long before they all knew. As stupendous and tremendous as each of them felt, they just couldn't keep feelings like that to themselves. Lizzie, the sensitive one, said, "I think everyone needs a quilt to feel in the pink." "Just like ours," said Matt, "but much bigger, so every Steve and Jan and Sue and Joe and Don and Dan and Dee and Dudley can crawl inside and feel snug and cuddly." "Sturdy," said practical Kate, "and strong and stitched very well to make it last long." "Splendid," Mom and Dad concurred, and the children cheered as they gave the word. "We'll make that blanket right away. In fact, why don't we start today?" Grandma pulled a big basket from under the bed, full to brimming with thimbles and strong and sturdy thread, and bright-colored fabric, and needles and pins, and announced to all, "The quilt project begins!" The Browns started sewing and sewing and sewing, and the blanket kept growing and growing and growing, spilling out of the house and into the street, surprising the neighbors who thought it was neat that a family would undertake something so sweet. They liked it so much that they all pitched in too, and the colorful patchwork grew and grew, and crowds started to gather from far and wide to see the big blanket and crawl inside. Folks who'd been feeling under the weather started to feel 1,000 times better. Nervous Nellies calmed down and aching Annies felt great. Overeaters decided to try and lose weight. Kids who were skinny and whiny and pale looked hearty and robust and ruddy and hale. Sad sacks smiled and babies beamed, and folks who were usually grumpy and mean found themselves feeling friendly and sociable. Everyone under the quilt felt wonderful. The quilt made everyone feel so good that no one wanted to budge or could, and though they felt spunkier, snappier, and stronger, the waiting lines grew longer and longer, and the people in line were wearing frowns when to the rescue came the Browns. "The quilt," they said, "is all about caring, and everyone knows that caring means sharing." And that's how it came to be decided that the wonderful blanket would be divided. As the Browns snipped away, the crowd went wild, and soon every man and woman and child had a magical quilt of their very own, and here's what they did when they took them home. Schoolgirls tied them in their hair, and Mike put his on his wheelchair. Shoppers used them for a sack. The Smiths wrapped theirs round baby Zack. Some made rag dolls like the Burtons, others hung them up like curtains. The pastor flew his from the steeple, and in a flash there were smiling people, and bright-colored patchwork all over town, which made the quilting family Brown very, 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 very happy. The end.